today at Psalm chapter 10. I'm going to read verses 1 and 16 to 18. Why, O Lord, do you stand far away? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations perish from his land. O Lord, you hear the desire of the afflicted. You will strengthen their heart. You will incline your ear to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed, so that man who is of the earth may strike terror no more. So in this psalm, the psalmist is wrestling with the feeling that he's been abandoned or forgotten by God. The psalmist openly admits to having thoughts that God does not see the struggles that he's going through. And there's great encouragement for us in this honesty. It's okay to have doubts. It's okay to bring those thoughts to God. There will be times in our life when it seems like God has gone silent, when it seems like he's standing far away and hidden himself in times of trouble. We shouldn't be surprised when those seasons of life come, and we should not worry that we're second-class Christians because we have worries. Such thoughts are shared in the Psalms to encourage us that it's okay to have doubts. But after expressing those thoughts, the psalmist then reminds himself of the truth of God's faithfulness, that he is king forever, that he is the helper of the fatherless, committed to the helpless, and that God will hear the desires of the afflicted. The psalmist preaches the gospel to himself in the midst of his doubts, reminding himself of what God has spoken and promised, reminding himself of the faithfulness of God, reminding him that though he as a human wavers and doubts, God is still faithful and true to his word, and that he will hear our prayers despite our doubts. The psalmist asks God to strengthen his heart, to increase his faith in the seasons of doubt so that he can stand firm in the face of opposition and not fall away like the wicked who end up renouncing God. So the application for us is that it's okay to have doubts. It's okay to have questions. It's okay to not have all the answers, to be uncertain, to have days when it seems to us that we've been forgotten. That doesn't mean that we're not saved. It doesn't mean that we're not Christian just because we have doubts. But what we need to do when we have those doubts is to bring them to God in prayer. To not feel cut off from him, but to use those doubts to urge us to pursue him with all the more passion and eagerness, and to preach the gospel to ourselves, to remind ourselves of God's promises that he will not forsake or abandon us, no matter what it seems like in the moment, to remind ourselves that he's promised to be faithful and he does not break his promises. The psalmist shows us that it's okay to have doubts, but he also shows us that in the midst of our doubts, we can remain faithful and trusting in God, that he will be there for us through it all. Let's pray.